Hey everybody, it's Day 1981, so I got another video today. It's kind of like a continuation, more stuff to go over for the end of 2025. So I'm just kind of doing more and more as I go. I'm trying to get into all the things that to touch on here. So another thing I got towards the end of 2025. I went out to these guys here. In case you guys can't see that, that's Brass Pro. And I picked up a quick something over on what was that? It's around Black Friday time, and I was looking for this. And if you guys don't know what this is a sensor that you can put on your firearm to dry fire practice. And I got a little bit of a deal going over to Bass Pro to get this. So I want to say just very quickly, I want to give a shout out to Lacey. She was the manager at Bass Pro. So when I got there, I had made several calls throughout that day in the early morning time. It was probably like around like 10:30 or so when I knew there was people there. And I just wanted to just say that it's people like herself that make the place really nice. I had spoke to a sales associate over the phone, and you gotta mind it, I was bounced back and forth from the bottom sales floor to like getting moved up to the top of their second floor where their sporting goods were at. And to make it long story short, I never really got a hold of anybody other than downstairs. Well, if you know what Bass Pro is now, to sum this up, you got like two parts to the store. The bottom part operates as a normal store, and they will take in all and ingest all phone calls or anything else, and answer most of your questions either over the phone or questions downstairs. Now, if you have an upstairs question, like say you have a thing about sporting goods or something in particular, you have to reach somebody up there. If there's nobody up there, or they don't answer the phone, or for whatever their reason, you just have to either keep calling back, or it's going there when you get a chance and you can ask your question there. Well, I wasn't getting any luck. So between getting bounced around and not getting a very good answer entirely of what I wanted to know, I just took a ride down to my local Bass Pro. I spoke to someone upstairs. I had to wait about a half an hour, which I thought was kind of like insane. I had to put myself in their call system, or their like little like kiosk on screen, to get a sales associate to even recognize me. I'm now live in their store on camera, waiting for over a half an hour just to get a little box like this to be in and out of their store. It took me almost, I'd say, 45 minutes. Well, I took the first 35 minutes, and within like 20 of it standing there just waiting and waiting and waiting, finally I got a hold of, someone was talking over the glass counter saying, "Oh, I see you're sorry for your wait. We'll get someone will get with you shortly. Did you put yourself in the kiosk?" I said, I didn't know I had to do that. I went in there and put myself in for the kiosk, and it was another 15 minutes I had to wait on top of my initial 20. So now we're looking at almost another 15 on top of that. So I found it really like unnecessary. So long story short, when I did finally get my item, which took several tries, they didn't really know what I was looking for. I knew it wasn't something they had on their sales floor. It was behind the counter. They had to go behind their glass cases to get it, and it was in a lockup. It was in a lockup cage, but it's okay. I was very patient and waited, and patience prevailed. I didn't get upset. I didn't blow my top. Yeah, I was frustrated and I was really aggravated, but it's how you handle yourself is what's going to make your scenario either work for you or against you. So what I eventually came to happening here is I end up getting a really nice deal out of that. So I waited until I got to the bottom floor to check out, and their normal policy is you're supposed to get the item in hand, and you get to look it over, and then someone's supposed to escort you downstairs with it through the elevator, and then or downstairs the stairs, and then they'll be waiting for you, or they'll walk with you out to the sales floor out by the front where the cashiers or checkout. Well, that didn't happen because I had to wait as long as I did. They probably figured I was already aggravated or upset, but I didn't show it. I didn't say anything. I just kept myself calm, cool. They let me walk out pretty much down to the bottom downstairs by myself with the item in hand, knowing they knew I was going to probably check out with it, and it wasn't a problem. I know that's not normal policy, but it's okay. I didn't say anything about that either, and it's fine. And this is a high ticket item. This thing is this little box here. I don't like stating prices here, but if I got this right, yeah. So it's like a $250 little item. This little thing costs $250, and that's considered a high ticket item. And I was able to walk down to the bottom stairs with it, and no, I did not pay $250 for it. I didn't even pay that for that. I paid a total of $220. So I was able to get a manager when I was able to talk to the original person first. I spoke to I think his name was Barry. I spoke to him first. He was the guy at the front customer service, and then I asked to see a manager, and I wanted to speak to a general manager or a store associate manager, and I either got the assistant manager or someone that was on the floor at the time. She was a nice lady. Her name was Lacey, and while I was waiting for Lacey to come, the guy across from who I was speaking to, which was Barry at the moment, and this is the Bass Pro out in Daytona Beach. So I'm not gonna, you know, you know, call out anybody. The store operates pretty well. It just you gotta keep yourself mindful that the store makes the associates and the workers also make the store. Upstairs, this really didn't seem like they were knowledgeable too much of what was going on as far as trying to help me. But I didn't go out of my way to try to see if I could flag somebody down. I wanted to see how long it took for them to actually acknowledge me by standing there and just waiting. But I was patient. I waited, and while Lacey was on her way to come to me, which was about another like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. But see, I know these people are busy. Now she's a downstairs manager. She works most of the downstairs floor, so she's not going to know nothing about what I have in my hand or what I'm waiting for. She's just going to try to do a resolve. And I asked really nicely, can I speak to a sales floor manager, or an assistant manager, or a general manager? I asked for either of the kind, and I ended up getting a hold of this lady Lacey. This is a younger manager. I would say she's probably her mid 25s or so. But she was very knowledgeable. She worked with me very nicely. She was an excellent person to do business with and to just give a shout out to. And while I was waiting for her, the guy across from Barry's, not the register, but he was like the main like counter for the customer service and returns department. So while I was standing there waiting, if the customer and sale, I think it was like customer, it was like sales service, customer returns, and all that kind of stuff. Customer service counter. The person behind me was the official like next over the official first register, and the guy remembered me, and I said, "Hey man, you remember this thing I had in my hand? This thing I think I called you." He goes, "Yeah, I remember talking to you." I was like, "That's cool." I don't know the guy's name, but he was a little Spanish guy. He had kind of like poofy hair. Uh, I'm gonna tell you, he was really knowledgeable, and he treated me really nice. He said, "Just look for a white collar. They'll be in a polo shirt, or they'll be in a light blue shirt, and those will be your managers." And I said, "I really appreciate it." And the guy just remembered me on the phone, and he just remembered my voice as I said something to him and acknowledged him. He was cool. He was ready to check me out, to send me out on my way. But I spoke to Barry first, and I was just because I wanted to go to the customer service counter, and I figured I could tie somebody up on that over tying someone up on a register. So I figured it'd just be a little easier. And long story short, I got a hold of this lady Lacey. She was really nice. She walked me through a couple of things. Of, why did I need to speak with her? And I said, okay, well, I had to take an abnormal amount of time to get a little tiny box like this in my hand. This little box cost me a lot of time, and I was trying to get in and out of here before the traffic got really bad. Um, I got in there at like 1:30. I didn't get out of there until almost like 2:45. So I was in there for a good amount of time, a good chunk. So she said, "Well, what would you like me to do?" I said, "I'd like you to see if you can maybe I don't want it for free. I just want something a little off." And this is, mind you, this is right around the holiday time. So she decided, she's like, how does $30 sound? I was like, $30? I was like, you say that one more time? You said $30? She goes, yeah. I said, I was expecting like 10 or 15. I said, I'm not going to say no to $30. So she gave me $30 off and knocked $30 off this. So again, shout out to Lacey. Thank you very much. Now, moving on, what this is the X10 Elite, and it comes sleeved. I just cut the little seal, and what it is just, it's a little sensor, and what it does is it allows you to dry fire practice in the in the privacy of your home or office or whatever you want. Just be mindful that you got to take the ammo out of your gun. I mean, that's just, you got to clear your firearm anyway. So you get a card, a registration card. You run it through the registration process and all that. And then you get this little box with foam. So that's the next layer after that little card I just showed. And then train smarter. Don't disagree. All that for this. And then we unzip that. And we get graced with this. So essentially you get a rail, and then you get this little guy. And that little sensor allows you to place, one last time, the sensor, a rail mount in case you need a round on a gun rail, and you get stickers, a cable for data and charging and firmware, and it looks like, yep, sticker. Go through all this stuff. A shims to stick this on something if you need to stick it on anything. Okay. The data cable and firmware cable and charging cable. I'm sure it takes firmware as well, but it's also for charging it. Just essentially just to charge the thing. They have to give you something to charge it with. A microfiber and a 3M sticky pad in case you need to stick this on something else that's outside of those stick blocks, sticky blocks. And lastly, you get miscellaneous little tool set, all in that little pouch. Now, again, I'm not saying anything like really to knock anybody, but that was quite a bit of savings I wasn't expecting to really get for what that girl did for me. It was really nice. she didn't have to go that far to do that, but that was really nice. And yeah, it was really cool. It was just really cool that she took the time to do that. I mean, she didn't have to. She could have just said, "Oh, I can't do that" or whatever. But she's a manager, and she figured, well, she felt, she could do something, and she did something. She went ahead and got me a little something off on the time that I had to wait. So again, that was really cool. So that takes care of that. Putting all this stuff back in here just really quickly, then I'll just do a quick little, hey, what we got going on here. So what you'll do is you take this little block, okay, and you're going to stick this little block onto your, you stick this little block onto your, well, on your magazine, or it depends on what you're going to use it for. You can dry fire, and it'll do like holster reads, and you can do like holstering and stuff like that. You can also use it for that's like it's holster analysis, so you can use it for that. You can also use it for getting into that's like your reaction time for holstering. You have that. You have the big number one thing you can really get into this with is you can also use this little setup here to get into, because it has multiple functions you can use this on. So the one I like was the holstering analysis, to get an idea how your reaction time is to holstering. That's for like dry fire. Now, as far as using that with targets on the wall and things like that, they have a separate thing for that, and that is it's through them, it's Mantis. I think it's Mantis. They have, I think it's called Academy. I think it's the Dry Fire Academy training or something, or they have different Academy ones, and the Academy is for strictly just that. It's an Academy set that's designed to work along with that if you want to use the Mantis, and you can use that along with that set. But again, that's getting into like laser and a dummy round and all that other stuff. You don't have to do that with this. You can get into that with just the holster analysis part, which would be you putting it on one of your empty magazines, and it gets stuck on with double-sided tape, and it will read how quick your draw is coming out of your holster. That's one thing you can do with that. Then you can actually take this to the range, and I strongly suggest you look at some videos, and I'll tell you who has a really early dynamite video. There's a lot of them, but I liked Mike Splain's from 360 Tactical Solutions. I think he's got a really good one, and he does a lot of analysis with the my personal favorite, the Hellcat Pro, and I liked a lot of the data he had when he at the time came up with the data through the Mantis Elite 10 or X10 Elite, and it was really cool to watch that. But that was back when the Elite X10 Elite didn't first drop, but he was on the fence of wanting to get it, and he tells you why he was on the fence to get it, and then he just broke down and just said, I'm going to go ahead and get it, and I want to try it. I want to get into some analysis and try to see what I can get out of my firearm. And he did a whole thing, and he uses it all the time now with I think he used it a few times between the Hellcat Pro, using it several times, and he used it also with the Echelon, and it was not the 2.0, but he used it on the full size, and it was really cool. So strongly recommend you checking out that channel, the 360 Tactical Solutions. It was really good. But there's others that did reviews on, and did not just an unboxing video, but actually did full scale usage of the item. It's actually really cool to watch. But again, this is a little sensor tool that allows you to use your existing firearm as for practice and to train. Now, if you're going to use it for live fire, you can use it for live fire. There's all kinds of little things you can use this on. and you can do with it. So you're not just bound to just dry firing and only dry firing. You can use this thing for several different things. So you got to make sure you get, you're using it on the right, the right idea here or what you're looking to do. You don't have to use it on just pistols. You can use it on, the nice thing about this is you can use it for several different solutions. You got pistols, you got rifles, you have bows, you have, well, the bows is another big one. That was the only one this one will work with is archery and bows. It doesn't work just on archery, but it's the one that works with archery and bows specifically. If you're going to use it for archery and bows, you can use it for this. This is the one you're going to want to go with. There's a lot of just like not holding you back. It's just, it works great. And you can also use it on airsoft. I mean, that's another big touch that now for airsoft, you could probably get away with a couple, probably different ones. You don't have to use this particular one, but most people that have airsoft use this because they're also going to probably use it on a real firearm. But again, this is a very, 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 very detailed oriented and highly, highly, highly specific and specified data tool. If you're going to get into data and you want to get into like knowing what's up with your gun, knowing what it's doing when you react or try to better correct things, this would be one way of going about it. This would be a one step in the right direction. You can use the Academy setups they have through Mantis, but you don't have to, and you're not bound to that. And no, that does not work with just solely using it by itself. You can use it by itself. You can use it with an existing Mantis setup like the Academy. I think it pairs with it. But now just keep in mind, if you use another solution, you're going to have an app that you're going to use with this as well. You'll have to use a separate app and a separate device. I don't know if you can use it. I forgot if they have a split screen for multiple devices for different things. I don't know if I can't remember. I think there is, but don't hold me to that. But I know that I know for sure that for every solution that you want to use, you will have to use. I don't know if it's more than one device. I would recommend it, but as far as using this with something else, this will have its own software, and your other stuff will have to run on software as well. Now, if you kept it with the Mantis design stuff, I believe it can run that software with like the digital or the training academy stuff. You can use that, but like I said, I think it has a split thing in the screen where you can separate different stuff with it, but you'd have to set it up to do that through the software. And like I said, I personally wouldn't do that. I would definitely try to separate your data from two different sources. That way it's more accurate that way. You probably won't get into more complexities that way or confusion. Most people tend to want to use this mostly on a computer or like a laptop or something portable or portableized. You can use your cell phone with this too. Don't get me wrong, but you can use that if you like. But most people will probably run on a laptop. You get a lot more into more further specs probably with the laptop. I don't know if it has the same layout or if it's just slightly different over the cell phone. I haven't tried it yet, but I've just watched how other people use it. Most people tend to use a laptop or go that direction, but you don't have to. And it is a pretty decent sized program, but it has a lot of stuff. I think the key feature on the software will be the muzzle flip, the muzzle rise. That tells you what you want to know about your gun, how it's performing. You do it before and after, so you get some kind of an idea of like what it's doing, how you're performing, things like that. But like I said, it's one of those other things I got it. And with the manager kicking in her help on that, I thought that was really cool. So again, a shout out to Lacey. Thank you again. Much appreciated. And like I said, that was right around I would say that was around like Thanksgiving time. I think that's when I grabbed that, and it was it was pretty cool. I got it decently priced, and I can't I can't be too hard on any one person. And, you know, people are people. You know, I just think people make the store and will make that be as good as it's going to be in your experience. But you gotta take it in stride. And like I said, I didn't get mad or anything like that. I just waited, wanted to speak to a manager, spoke to a manager, and I got it rectified. And within a few minutes, I'm walking out, and she's knocking like $30 off my sale. So it's like, okay, pays to be nice, and it pays to grease the wheel, so to speak, and be a greasy wheel, and just kind of speak up and see if they can do something. If you don't speak, you don't know. If you don't, you don't speak up. But hope you guys liked it. And like I said, it was just another recap of another thing from 2025. So hope you guys liked it, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later. Oh, please rate, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys later on the next one.